Coach Steve Clifford. If everybody would please raise your hands in the Zoom function, I will call on you. And we will get started with Josh Robbins from The Athletic.
Steve, good morning. What are the areas in which you would like to see the team improve this season and think the team has a reasonable chance to improve?
I think, balanced play wins in this league. And if you look at last year, I think we ended up 23rd in offense and I think 12th in defense. We need to be, get back to being a top 10 defensive team. And we've got to find ways to get to the top 15 in offense. And I think there are things that, that we're, small adjustments. I mean, I think a big part of that can be continuity, where we have, so many guys back. And to be honest, as you guys know, we had stretches last year where, we're really good on defense, and then we had stretches where we're really good on offense. But what we didn't do consistently was, when we scored, our defense wasn't as good, and when we defended, we didn't score as well. So I think that getting to balance play more consistently is the key for any NBA team.
Tim Reynolds, Associated Press.
Hey, Cliff. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You've been through a training camp or two before in your life, obviously, and this is going to be one like none other. What plans have to be thrown out the window this first week? I mean, I don't think you guys are all track one. Maybe you are, but you can't have the group until Friday or Sunday, whatever it is. And then you're playing a preseason game a few days after that. How unusual, how rushed will all this be? Coaches never feel like you have enough time anyway. And this year you definitely won't. So how much do you know off the top that you're going to have to change and adapt?
Well, the thing that we've been talking about with our staff and also with our guys is I think everybody's going to have to be adaptable. And watching the other sports, baseball, football, MLS, listen, for most teams, and it's going to happen that, you fly to a city, you get ready to play, and then, maybe your opponents have positive tests and you don't play that weekend. And, you have guys within your team or coaches or whatever. So I think that, the old phrase in coaching of you get up every morning and you hope for the best, but plan for the worst. And I think that that's going to be part of it. But you're going to have to be adaptable, plan well, plan the best you can. I feel like we have a good plan. I'm excited about the attitude that our guys have. They've all been in here. There are, a bunch of them are already here this morning. And I think they're excited to get going. And Tim, we have our plan. And yet, again, I think the word adaptable is going to be, a critical part of this for all of us.
Cliff, if I could follow real quick, obviously we were in a bubble and the bubble worked and we were all safe. We're not in a bubble. We can put all the rules in the world in, but we're not in a bubble right now. Just what is your level of concern about coming back, especially with the numbers just going absolutely crazy, not just in Florida, but everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, and the other part that's obviously difficult is which is, I don't see any other way we could have done it, is we're, coming where many parts of the country, obviously it's colder, which the experts have told us for months that cases would go up. And then obviously we're, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And unfortunately for all of us, the way we've handled this as a country, whenever there's been a holiday, there've been huge spikes. So those are difficult things. But again, the planning that the league has put into this, the purpose, they're giving us every opportunity to have success. And a lot of it's now it's going to fall on all of us. Everybody, you have to go by the rules. Everybody's going to have to be careful, and it speaks to it's an added element of commitment. the teams that handle it the best are going to have an advantage.
Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
Cliff, in an off season like this, where there's just a shortened training camp, short preseason, how valuable of an asset can continuity be? And, how challenging will it be on teams that, made very significant changes this off season?
Yeah, I mean, that's, to me, it's obviously, hopefully will be one of our strengths is, we have, again, we have our core, we have a core of guys back that are comfortable with the way we do things. There's things that we will add like we do every year that'll be new for everybody. But, and again, my point to them is I've been talking to them as they come in here is if we want to have the type of year where we're a surprise team in the East, then continuity has to be a major strength. But again, that speaks to individual approach. It speaks to group approach. It speaks to our approach towards practices here, towards training camps, so that we're taking the best advantage of every day. And that's one thing talking to guys, watching them work out with the assistant coaches. I think our guys are in a good place. I think they're excited to get going. And so I'm confident that the continuity can be a big strength for us.
Roy Perry, Orlando Sentinel. Roy, you have to unmute. There you go.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got two screens working. Good morning, Steve. What did you like about Dwayne Bacon as a rookie, and what do you think he can bring to the team this year?
Well, I remember telling Michael Jordan after 2 weeks, so we were on the phone one day just talking about training camp when Dwayne was a rookie, and we had a bunch. He was playing behind Nick Batum and Jeremy Lamb. And I told him after the second week is I don't know how long it'll take him, but he has the size, the feel for the game, and the offensive instincts to be an every night starter in this league down the road. And he's a talented guy. I liked coaching him. Actually, we started that year with Nick Batum got injured in a preseason game, and Dwayne started because I wanted to bring Jeremy off the bench and go to him, utilize him as a second unit scorer. And Dwayne played against starters, started I think the first 7 or 8 games, and actually he did fine. So look, it didn't work out as well for him there as he wanted it to. He's got a great relationship with Pat Delaney and Bruce Kreitzer. And I think that as he gets acclimated and comfortable, he can be a big asset for our team.
Christian Brewery, WFTV.
Morning, Coach. I just want to know, how will you address kind of the concerns you have with COVID? Is it a long speech the first time everyone's back? Is it daily? You kind of remind these guys, or are they adults and they should kind of know what it's going to take to get through this?
Yeah, well, the NBA has a very specific scheduled protocol that every team will have to follow. So because listen, the guidelines with testing alone and there's obviously a lot of aspects of travel and everything else that are going to be different for all of us. So those are done by doctors. They're done here by our trainer. Ernest Eugene does a lot of it. He did a lot of it in the bubble also. So some of it is directed to the players on Zoom calls like this from people within the league. And then others Ernest will lead. I mean, my message with them is actually going to be pretty simple. Listen, the world is the world, not just our country, our state, the world is in a tough spot. It's been a tough year for all of us. And yet, in watching and listening to the experts, if we can get through this next 5 or 6 months, it seems like there's a good chance that things will start to get back to normal. So we all have to do our part, and basketball NBA players make a ton of money, and there are added responsibilities here. But again, I think the word that you used is what I would use. The two are professional and maturity, so that we can try to limit the problems that we could have.
Philip Rossman Reich, Orlando Magic Daily.
Hey, Coach. Two questions here. The first is, how healthy is everyone as you get ready for camp? I know you're always show me who you have the day of type guy, but how healthy is everyone looking for camp? And then, kind of as a follow up to that, with how condensed training camp's going to be, or how little time you may actually have with the guys, how do you go about making sure that someone like Al Fukaminu is making progress, or Chuma Okeke's making progress coming back from injury? As well as, how do you develop, Chuma and Cole Anthony specifically as rookies, kind of getting acclimated to a new league?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start with the first one. When we start on Friday, the guys that won't be cleared to do everything, to do contact, would be Farouk won't be able to, Mo won't be able to. Chuma's cleared. We're going to watch him carefully, but he's able to do everything. And then obviously J.I. Everybody else at this point, we're planning on being available for all aspects of practice. The second part, condensed camp. There's so many different ways, obviously, Philip, that we can look at it. But what we're going to do is play as much as we can. We're going to get organized and we're going to play. We're going to be very whole in the way we approach this. A lot of times when you have a longer camp, or, we've always done here until this year, we've done optional workouts in September where almost all the guys have come to. We would do a lot of our foundational work at both offensively and defensively. Then, some of that stuff, to be honest with you, we're going to put on the back burner. There's things that you have to be done, but you have to be organized. You have to have enough offense in, enough defense in. But more than anything, I think the guys have to get into rhythm of playing. And the best way to do that is to play. So my plan for the first day is we're going to put a lot of stuff in. The only thing that we will drill defensively will be one-on-one defense. When our defense was good last year, we were not only containing the ball, but I think we were third in the NBA when we were good defensively in deflections and like fifth in steals. And when we were bad, I think we were like 19th in deflections and like 21 in steals. So we're going to drill individual defense every day. Other than that, it's going to be organization and play 5-on-5. And we'll do that for as long as the intensity is good. I think that'll be the best way to get in shape, those guys to get in rhythm individually, and try to get to some level of execution. And in terms of Chuma and Cole, there's no question it's a disadvantage. I mean, normally guys have summer league, and then, in September, we've always done a lot. These last 2 years, like I said, a lot of our foundational work we would do in optional workouts in September. So they're going to have to be quick learners. But to be honest with you, I think they are. And, we have to help them progress at a rate so that we're putting them in situations where they can have success. But, I've watched a lot of, both of their college games. They both are players with good IQ. I think they can both be good at both ends of the floor. And I think that, Jeff, John, and all the scouts, we obviously, as you guys know, we had limited money, and our goal was to improve our skill level, our basketball IQ, shooting, and our ability to, create shots for teammates. And I think with Dwayne, with Cole, and with Chuma, those guys are younger players, but I think that they can all, as the season goes on, I'm not saying they're going to do it in the first month, but as the season goes on, I think all three of them will allow us to develop more depth, a lot more depth than we had last year. And I'm excited about all three of those guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Eric Wilson, 1070.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. Thanks for doing this. Just if you could just give an early assessment of Cole Anthony, just what you see out of him and what your thought process is with him moving forward.
Well, the thing that stands out to me when you watch him is to me, it's the most important thing that you look for is he's a fierce competitor. He likes to play. He's been in here, you know, working. He likes to be in the gym, but he competes naturally. And there's nothing more important than that. He's got size. He's strong. I liked, and in talking, you know, I have a good friendship with Roy Williams because we've had a bunch of North Carolina guys over the last few years. And we had a great conversation where he gave me some of the ways that they utilize Cole, which we're going to add here. But I think he's got a pick and roll game. I think he's going to be a good range shooter. I like his vision of the floor. And the other thing that I liked in college was I liked the way that he organized. I actually told him that. We had dinner one night, and especially they played, you know, North Carolina is very high execution, and he knew where everybody was supposed to be, and he was very vocal about getting people to their spots and organizing the team, which is critical for a point guard. And I was especially impressed, to be honest, their game at Syracuse, where, you know, Syracuse is so long and played the zone, and they were running some different things. And there were 2 or 3 guys on the team that were struggling with the sets because they obviously don't play against zone as much. And it was impressive to me of how he was able to like walk them through where they were supposed to be and help them execute from the point guard position. So there's a lot to like about him. But again, I'll get back to the first thing is I think he's a natural, a fierce competitor, and that's a great place to start for any player.
Thank you.
Josh Cohen, OrlandoMagic.com.
Hey, Coach. Also on the topic of Cole, do you feel playing alongside a great playmaking center like Vucevic will help him? Do you see those two complementing each other well when they're on the floor together?
Yes, absolutely. You know, I think that, I mean, and to take that to another level, to be honest with you, is I think, you know, we just had one of our staff meetings because I think that where we're playing in the league now, especially you saw it in the bubble, guys like Vooch helps them all play better every time he's on the floor because of his ability to shoot the three. Like if he continues to shoot the ball the way he did in the bubble, it's again, it makes him even a more difficult cover. But the other thing that he can do is he can pass. And I'll go back to when I was a young coach, listening to Coach Carrill at a clinic, and he said, if you can, back then it was centers, you know, if you can have a center that can shoot, it opens up the lane for cutting for everybody else. And then if that center can pass the ball, then you're good to go. You know, there's a lot of guys in our league, 4s and 5s, that can shoot threes, but they're not particularly good passers. And I think that's part of Jokic's greatness. And I also think it's what makes Vooch such a difficult matchup for people.
Chris Cuff, 24 Flicks.
Good morning, Coach. I just wanted to ask, since J.I. is out, Mo Bamba is a big young guy that you still have on the squad. Once he gets up to snuff, what are you expecting from Mo this year?
Well, right now, you know, we just have to, you know, we're hoping that, you know, that he can get healthy enough to get back on the floor. He's going to be able to do some of the things early in camp, but he's going to be limited. And, you know, he's been, you know, he's had kind of a tough stretch here in terms of how much he's been able to do. So it'll start with, you know, we have to be, again, prudent, make sure that we're moving along with him in an intelligent manner, and, you know, try to get him back on the floor as soon as we can.
Keith Smith, Yahoo Sports.
Hey, Coach. With J.I. out and it sounds like Al-Farouq Aminu limited, does that really give Chuma Okeke a chance to really seize an opportunity here? And do you think that at least, I know he wasn't in the NBA last year, but at least being around the team and that help gives him a little bit of a leg up as he starts his rookie season?
I do. I do. First of all, I do. I think that I think first of all, I'll go backwards. I'll answer your second question first. I think being around and spend a lot of time in Lakeland, and he's a sponge. He's a basketball kid. He loves to be around the players. He loves to be around in the gym. He likes to work. So I think that is a big advantage for him. I think that, the NBA game is, because of the rules and the pick and roll coverages and the size of players, quite a bit different than college. And I think he has a good feel for that. And the other part is in terms of our opportunity. I mean, I have, let's put it this way, with all three of those guys, because again, with Cole, with Dwayne, and with Chuma, their strengths were the things that we lacked when we went to the bench last year. The ability to play off the dribble, to create space for their teammates. And I think all three of them have a very good feel for the game. And I'm not putting limits on any of what they can become this year. I think that we have to be smart because of some of the factors we talked about before, where camp is shorter. For Cole and Chuma, they're not having summer league. We're not having the option of workouts in September. There's definitely a lot there for them to learn. Dwayne's in a new place, obviously new teammates. He has a lot to learn also. So I'm not saying that when we go out here these first 5 or 6 games that these guys are going to have big roles, but I'm confident that all three of them potentially could play a big part in our team by the end of the year.
Okay, we have time for a few more minutes. We'll go back to Josh Robbins.
Steve, what are your expectations for Markel this season, including some of the ways that you'd like to see him develop and improve?
Well, Markel looks great. He's in great shape, and he's had a really good, I don't know if we're going to call this play stoppage or off season, whatever we just had. I think he's in a good place. And I think he's in a good place physically. I think he's in a good place mentally. And I just think he needs to take another step. Last year, he proved that he's a solid NBA starter. And I think this year he'll take another step and put himself into, that next category of point guards. He knows what he has to do. He's bright. He's working at things. He's got a great feel for the game. And now he knows, listen, he understands what we're doing at both ends of the floor as well as anybody. So I'm confident that he's in a place where he can have a terrific year.
If I can just follow up on a separate topic about Farouk, given that he had surgery, I think in early January, has he had any sort of setback in recent months that prevents him from being in contact early in camp?
Yeah, he won't be able to do contact in camp. There's no timetable right now for him, but he's still he's a ways away.
Thank you.
Dan Savage.
Cliff, with this shortened off season or whatever you want to call it, how much does that challenge how much guys can add to their game during an off season? Obviously, young players, older players, you always talk about how they should add to their game during that period of time, but especially for young guys, how much does this shortened training camp off season challenge that?
Definitely. I think there's no question about it. And that's why, again, is during this time, it's going to be a shorter training camp, but I think approach is everything. And there's always two aspects of it that guys, to me, the best players always lock into is one, it's what you're talking about. It's the skill development, their individual games. And you're right. This hasn't been an off season where guys have been able to, have time or enough time in the gym to make significant gains in a certain aspect, either making a strength a bigger strength or maybe a weakness, improving a weakness. So that's the first part. Then the second part of it is just as important, is is being able to execute the team things, being an expert on what your team is doing. And that's where not having the September workouts will hurt teams also. So that's why we're trying to, organize things for training camp so that we can get up to speed as quickly as possible.
Okay, we'll take two more. We'll go back to Tim Reynolds.
Cliff, I just wanted to get some clarity on something you said a few minutes ago about you're going to have to play a lot once you get the group sessions going. Without those 3 or 4 weeks where guys would be in the gym playing 5-on-5, if this was a normal year, they'd have been in there running for a month already. How concerned are you about where that line is between not getting enough in, or too much? I mean, how are you kind of the belief that the only way you're going to get these guys in game shape is to maybe sacrifice some of the teaching stuff, some of the drills, some of the individual stuff, and just get going 5-on-5 as much as you possibly can in that time?
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I think that the way you worded it is how I'm feeling. I think that's going to be the trick, is to again, for the number one thing you have to have is guys that are in rhythm, feeling good about their games and understanding what you're doing. And then obviously the challenge is, in our league, you have to have enough offense and defense in so that you can play effectively. And that's going to be the every night discussion. I mean, I'm lucky here. I have a great staff. You guys know them, veteran staff. They're great at working with the players. I have incredible confidence in just their knowledge. We've been through a lot of training camps together, but what you just talked about, Tim, that's going to be the, every afternoon at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock when you get done watching the film, is what's going to be the most intelligent way to attack the next day. And the finding the balance is going to be, critical.
Okay, last question goes to Christian Brewery.
Coach, I don't know how much you can disclose, but with Mo, what is he able to do, and what are the difficulties that he's still facing?
Yeah, there's no real timetable for him to be able to come back and fully participate. I think that he'll be able to do some things that are more organizational and everything. But there's, he's a ways away, and there's no timetable on his return. So that's where we're at. I do want to say that I have two quick things. One is because I thought one of you guys would ask me this. The Orlando City run in the playoffs. I mean, I watched all those games, and the win over New York was one of the greatest. I'm 59. That was one of the greatest matches, games I've ever seen. I'm sure a lot of you guys watched it, but the highs and lows, and the goalkeeping, the saves that our guy made, particularly in the first half to keep us in the game. And I just had, hats off to them. They had a phenomenal year. And the second thing is, because I want to make sure that we keep the conversation going, our guys have all been back, and one of the things that we are committed to, and we've already talked to some people about, is I think that a number of our guys were involved in voting, working with Desmond Meade and FRRC. We've also been doing some work with Dr. Randy Nelson, who's a professor at Bethune-Cookman, who is also working with the city of Orlando to, I think, evaluate and work on relationships between, law enforcement and the local communities. And actually, Michael Carter Williams and I think it was 2 or 3 Saturdays ago, went to a local meeting here in Paramore that Dr. Nelson ran with a number of citizens from Paramore, and it was incredibly educational for me. And Dr. Nelson is someone that we're going to continue to partner with. And then the last one is Dr. Jeremy Levitt, who's the director of Stono Institute. He's a professor here at FAMU, and he has some local and national initiatives, both in education, police reform, and Ty Corbin, Randy Gregory, one of our video guys, myself, Michael Carter Williams, Farouk, Markel, Mo, Cole, and Chuma just spend a night with him and Pastor Zach, who works with him. And he did a great presentation about some of their initiatives and some of his thoughts on how we can get involved here in Orlando to make things a better place. So we're going to continue to be working with different organizations here in Orlando. And it's critical now that, you know, we get the conversation going again. Our guys are committed to it, and you know, we're going to be working hard to do our part.
Thank you, Cliff. Appreciate your time.